guys, welcome back to my channel. I wanted to start off by first saying thank you to everybody who subscribed to my channel and took time out of the day just to watch my first video. I was so nervous to post that video. I got such positive feedback. I can't tell you how happy I was. Thank you so much. In this video, I'll be explaining how I found out about my missed miscarriage, and I'll go into what that means further on in the video. Following this video, I'll be posting one next week, which will describe the procedure I had following my miscarriage. The reason that I'm sharing this very personal and sensitive experience is because I learned that there's a very hush-hush aspect of miscarriage. And I don't really know why that is. Miscarriage is so common. My doctor told me that it happens to 1 in 4 pregnancies. And just like many other women, I was that one. And it's crazy because you just don't picture it happening to you. I didn't, so I wasn't prepared for it. I want to talk about it so more women can feel comfortable about it and understand that they're not alone. It is so difficult. It is so hard. It's so sad. The way that I coped was by talking about it. I talked a lot about it and it helped me a ton. Just as a heads up, I am going to include the ultrasound video of when I sort of found out I had a miscarriage. My miscarriage was not confirmed at this appointment, but it was my very first one, and that's when I knew something was wrong. So from the time I found out I was pregnant, which was very early on, I believe around 4 weeks, I found out at 9 DPO. Up until my first ultrasound, which was at 8 weeks and 4 days, I had the typical pregnancy symptoms. I had morning sickness, and I had the pure exhaustion. And I've learned that being pregnant with a toddler is so much harder than being pregnant for the first time, at least from my experience. I would say around the week following up to my 8-week appointment, my symptoms really started to slow down. And by that, I mean my nausea wasn't as bad. I wasn't always nauseous. Like, I felt like I could actually go through my day normally. That didn't really concern me, but I was very aware of it. I thought, well, maybe this pregnancy is just gonna be a little bit easier when it comes to my morning sickness. Because I am getting closer to the second trimester, things are slowing down. And because of everything going on, I had to go to my first 8-week appointment by myself, which really sucked because my husband went to all the other ones with my daughter. Thank you. And looking back on it, I really wish he could have been there. And also at this point, I was already showing a little bit. I'll also insert that picture. So I get to my appointment, and because my husband was not allowed to be there, they let me record and take pictures, and I recorded the whole thing. It's really hard for me to look back on that video because I remember my thought process in those moments, but I'll insert that video for you to watch it.
So this is the peanut right here. Like 6 days maybe. 7 weeks.
7 weeks?
Yeah.
And there's just one?
Yeah, this is one. Let me see if I can pick up the heartbeat.
Is there typically a heartbeat at 7 weeks?
A lot of time it is, but sometimes it's hard because it's still so small. I visually see it. It's hard to pick it up because so then we just have to wait till you get further along. rescan you. See, it's right here.
Hard to see from this angle.
It's right there. It's tiny. So I think we just have to be patient with this.
But you do see one? I can't. I don't even know what I would look for.
Yeah, so 6 or 7 weeks right there. Let's see if we can zoom in a little bit better. You just have to be patient and rescan you.
Okay.
Let your pregnancy get bigger so it'll be more obvious. Okay.
Okay. When she finished the scan, I had so many questions. I sat up and I knew that I had to ask those tough questions as hard as it was going to be. I didn't want for anything to be sugar-coated. She started saying, well, maybe you got pregnant later than you thought. I tracked my period, I tracked my ovulation. I could tell she was a little bit more worried at that point, and she told me that she wanted me to get blood work to make sure that my HCG levels were increasing and to come back for another scan in a week. I asked her, and what if there is no heartbeat? And she explained, then that means the pregnancy is not viable and it will end in a miscarriage. I had never had this type of conversation with a doctor before, let alone anybody. And I just kind of shook my head and I was thinking, okay. So I went to the lobby area, scheduled my next appointment, went to my car and cried. I sat there and I cried by myself. Then I drove home and I cried and I screamed the whole way until I got to where my daughter was and I picked her up. I used that day to really distract myself. We went swimming, I spent time with family. Within the week of my first appointment to my following appointment, I got blood work done twice. And then I get a call 2 days before my next scan from the location I got my blood work done, and they said, my HCG levels look good. And I asked her, what does look good mean? And she said, well, with the type of blood work you got done, it measures between, I think 6 to 12 weeks, and that's something like that. But that's a pretty huge gap. Your levels can be anywhere. They're supposed to increase every single day significantly. So that didn't really help. I felt a little bit optimistic, but I knew like this is still kind of weird. She said, I need you to come back before your appointment to see that the levels have increased from your last one. And she said, well, I need you to come in now so that your results can get to your doctor on time. The next day I had my appointment, and once again I had to go alone, but I was able to record all of it. That video is the one that's really hard for me. I remember waiting in the lobby for like 40 minutes and it felt like forever. And I waited in the back room for what felt like forever. And my doctor walked in and she said, so how are you feeling? And I very honestly said, I'm scared and I'm nervous, because I was. And she sat down and she said, and I'm glad that right away she just said, your levels did not increase. And I'm sharing this story because I know there's so many women who go through the same thing. And I feel so bad for them all. Then she said, but let's do a scan anyways. So I laid down, already heartbroken. The baby was significantly smaller and was actually measuring a few days smaller than what it was in my first one. So my baby stopped growing at around 6 weeks, 6 days, and 7 weeks. I stayed pregnant for 10 weeks. And that is why it's called a missed miscarriage, because your body does not recognize that the baby stopped growing and your body continues to be pregnant. So then I asked her, what are my options? And she told me option 1 is to miscarry naturally. The second option was to take the pill, which would kickstart the process of the miscarriage and I would labor at home. Or my last option was to have a DNC. And I knew that I wanted to have the DNC because I did not want to wait each day wondering when my body was going to miscarry. I was so scared of that. I wanted to have the procedure done and move forward. If you made it this far in the video, I truly appreciate you sitting through and listening to me. In my next video, I'll explain what happened during my DNC, and I'll go into more details in that video about the procedure itself. And if you've ever had a miscarriage, I am so sorry. I'm so sorry you had to go through that. I should also add that this happened 2 months ago. So I am in month 2 of trying to conceive for our next baby. And I'm praying and I'm praying, and I hope you pray for me that it will happen soon. But I have so much faith in the fact that it'll happen when it's meant to happen. Thank you guys for your support. It means the world to me. I wanted to make this video about my miscarriage, put it out there, and move forward. Before you leave, don't forget to subscribe and keep an eye out for my next video. Bye guys, thank you.
Mama.